Hey everyone, welcome to Ian and Friends Giro d'Italia edition. I am FloBikes Senior Editor Ian Dille.
And I am Michael Sheehan, Ian's friend. Today we are going to discuss the very long Stage 10 of the Giro d'Italia.
Yeah, we're also going to look ahead to Stage 11. Today was 244 kilometers. I think this was the longest stage of the Giro d'Italia so far.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the longest. I hope so for the rider's sake. And yeah, rude start. Right up a Cat 2 climb from the gun.
Yeah, a Cat 2 climb. This climb was 20 kilometers long in length almost, and it took some serious casualties.
Yeah,
up the mountain.
When you see all the riders in front of their team buses warming up on their turbo trainers, you know it's going to be a rough start to the day, and there were some surprising people left behind the peloton at the start.
Yeah, let's get into it. The big news is Esteban Chaves is no longer in the running for the GC. Sorry if that's a spoiler, but he is what, 6 minutes down now? I mean, he got dropped on the first Category 2 climb and was never able to reattach.
Yeah, you know, the sports director of Mitchelton Scott has said that he's been having some allergy issues. So we don't know what the full story is there. That is the indication so far. But yeah, coming off a rest day, you know, you never know how your legs are going to feel, and all it takes is just one bad moment and your ambitions for the whole 3-week race can go out the window.
Yeah, I mean, when we were looking at this stage and we saw the climb that the riders were going to have to tackle right out of the gates, we knew that it was going to be, there might be some crazy things that happened. I don't think I would have predicted that Esteban Chaves, who's been looking phenomenal this whole Giro, sitting in second overall, already won a stage, third on Sunday, would come off the back. I mean, yeah, to see the group of riders that he was with and, you know, kind of who was left in the front group to not be able to ride with those guys, he must have been in a really bad place.
Yeah, very, very uncharacteristic. And what we would expect to see, though, however, is Elia Viviani and some of the sprinters. They're definitely going to be dropped by the top of that opening climb. Unfortunately, Chaves being dropped with Viviani really kind of ruined the race for Quick-Step today, because this just forced the entire peloton to just take advantage of Mitchelton Scott's misfortune, and they rode really, really hard. And normally, you know, you might see a breakaway go over the top of this climb or down the descent, and then peloton will slow down, the guys who are dropped will catch back up. You know, Elia Viviani, I'm sure, was expecting a chase through the cars after the descent to catch back up to the peloton. What he was not expecting was to have Esteban Chaves right next to him, and yeah, he was really a casualty of the GC game today.
Yeah, I think if you're a sprinter and you see someone in the top 10, top 3 GC in your group, you're like, oh crap, it's going to be a long day. And it was for everybody. I mean, the Chaves getting dropped on that first climb threw the whole race on its head. I mean, poor Tony Martin, who's been trying to force a breakaway, finally forces a breakaway. Yeah. And then because the second group, or I guess the peloton, is trying to keep Chaves off the back, then we've got Sky on the front driving it, Sunweb on the front driving it. Everybody else with GC ambitions was driving the peloton, trying to keep Chaves from catching back up, and poor Tony Martin got caught with, there were still 100 plus 140K remaining in the race.
Try as he might, yeah, he found himself a minute off the front solo, just still going for it, but he had to quit while he was ahead.
Yeah, and I love these types of dynamics where it's almost like team time trial versus team time trial. Like in Chaves' group, we saw Edix chasing, you know, obviously Mitchelton Scott had Kreuziger back there, Svein Tuft. Even Chaves was pulling on the front himself at times, trying to get back, and they got within, you know, under 2 minutes. I mean, they were going full out, and then, but they just couldn't get back. The guys in the front were going too hard.
There are times when it's the proper thing to do to sit and wait if a GC rider has a misfortune and it's off the back. This is not one of those times.
Yeah.
You know, if you're Chris Froome and his teammates, if you're Tom Dumoulin, this is your opportunity to cut Mitchelton Scott's massive advantage in half right now.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of those GC riders are feeling a little bit better after today's stage, knowing that now they only have to worry about one incredible rider on that Mitchelton Scott team this tour.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. I mean, up until today's stage, the advantage that Mitchelton Scott had over everybody seemed insurmountable. But yeah, 20K into stage 10 and the whole thing gets shaken up. So definitely an exciting day. Go tune in to our full replay on FloBikes. So once it was clear that Chaves wasn't coming back, we saw some attacks launching off the front. We should actually back up a little bit. What set off the attacks going off the front was Yates going for the intermediate sprint.
Yes, yeah.
There were time bonuses.
Yates is not messing around. He knows that he needs these bonus seconds going into the stage 16 time trial. And Pino was also interested, but Yates had that kick. And he scooped up some time bonuses, again, just building up ever so slightly as much of a buffer as he can over Tom Dumoulin. And then an Androni rider, Marco Fraporti, kind of seized the opportunity as Yates was drifting back into the pack to then attack for a late breakaway.
Yeah. Yates, after he won the 3-second time bonus, decided that everybody should slow down and wait for him because the leader was going to take a pee break. But Fraporti was not on board with that. Attack built up a 2-minute advantage. I have a question about Yates going for these bonuses, sprinting as hard as he has been at the end of these stages, like on Sunday's stage. Is this is this going to catch up with him in week 3? Is this like going for the energy bar preem at the local criterium and blowing yourself out and then getting second in the race?
I say that it's got to be a calculated risk for Yates, because definitely all these little matches that you burn throughout the course of the tour are going to add up. But at the same time, you have to use your strengths, whatever they are. And Yates obviously can climb, but he's one of the punchier climbers. He has that really quick, fast twitch acceleration on his side, and he has the ability to get these time bonuses. He has the ability to finish on hilltop finishes really well and get more time bonuses. Right. Whereas Tom Dumoulin, Chris Froome, they're really reliant on a time trial. Yates has to just find that time somewhere else.
Yeah. So what happened next? Attacks start going off the front as they're going up the final climb of the day, the Category 4. And one of my favorite riders, Matej Mohoric, Mr. Super Tuck, just lit it up.
Talk about playing to your strengths. It started to rain towards the end of the race. There was a little climb followed by a surprisingly long, twisty descent.
Yeah, I wonder if Mohoric knew that was coming up. I mean, they must have been up on a plateau and just dropped off, because it was little climb after little climb, and then they descended for like 10K.
Yeah, I think that he definitely would have known the roads coming up, and boy, the way he took that descent, it seemed like he knew every corner. But that's just Mohoric. He is so good at descending, such a good bike handler. We talked in the past about him really popularizing the modern day top tube pedaling. He's just so good downhill and is one of those riders who comes into his own when the road is wet, when there's any kind of treachery involved in the bike handling.
Yeah, and poor Davide Villela of Astana, he was the one that started the attacks. Mohoric bridged across to him, and then Mohoric was just torturing him on the descent. I mean, he would hold him pretty close, but as you were saying, the motorcycle kept sort of getting in the way.
Yeah, there are different types of descenders in this world. There are guys like Mohoric, and then Viejo was doing a very admirable job descending. I personally would not want to be tasked with having to hold Mohoric's wheel down any kind of descent.
Especially a wet one.
Yeah, and Viejo, he was holding him within a stone's throw, but also giving himself a good enough of a buffer to, have bailout, because Mohoric is just one of those riders who can take a corner wrong and just adjust on a dime, whereas if you're locked on his wheel, that's going to spell doom for you. So yeah, Viejo was hanging out 50 meters back, and I did get mad. The motorcycle decided to shoot into that gap to give us some really nice pictures of Mohoric, but that's not where Viejo wants a motorcycle to be, because what's going to happen is he's catching the motorcycle going into a corner and then maybe having to slow down, adjust his speed, and obviously can't accelerate out of a corner at the same speed as a motorcycle. So yeah, just get the bikes out of there. Let the riders do their thing.
What was incredible was the German rider, Nico Denz, actually bridges across
on the descent.
To Mohoric, goes past Vieja, and him and Mohoric link up and hold off the chasing peloton. Bora Hansgrohe is trying to bring it back, and they hold them back on the final flat 10K to the finish. Definitely impressive ride by those two guys to hold off the chasing pack.
Yeah, great ride. On one hand, I have to say it was a bit of a missed opportunity for Bora. But at the same time, being tasked with controlling the likes of Mohoric on that run-in into the finish, it was a really, really tall order. Kind of the second they let that guy off the front, it was going to be very hard to bring him back.
Yeah, and we saw all sorts of misfortune in the field behind. Carapaz had to do a bike change and then change back to his bike. He borrowed a teammate's bike. Dumoulin had a flat tire, had to chase back on. There was a lot going on that descent.
Yeah, very, very nervous times. And the just wet roads, you're getting punctures. And the team cars were on it. I have to say it was really good that the peloton was reduced a bit at this point, and the caravan was just right there. In the Tour, there's so many of these climbs and descents where if you get a puncture, you're going to be waiting on the side of the road for a minute for your team car to show up. But they were on it with the support, and really what looked like scary times for those riders, they ended up getting back in the field in no time.
Yeah, for sure. And then I love these sort of two-up sprint finishes. They had enough time to really sort of eye each other coming into the finish. There was not a full-on track stand, but it was a full drag race to the line.
Yeah, man. Mohoric, he looked so strong throughout that whole final 10K, and it was just brute strength, really. Nico Denz, he had a really good jump, but you could kind of tell that he was flailing a little bit and just didn't quite have the power, and Mohoric there's just no coming around him.
Yeah, no, I mean, to have the confidence to initiate the breakaway, drive it, and then take the sprint. Definitely an incredible ride by him today.
Yeah, former U23 world champion. He's only 23 years old right now. He is going to do a lot of impressive things.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he takes more wins in this Giro.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're starting to see guys are getting tired. And there's not as much strength or impetus to start bringing back these breakaways. So it just goes to show that there's no rest days in this bike race. Yeah. I saw a little video by Mitchelton Scott where one of their riders was sort of joking that was a rest week, because if you look at the profiles that all these next 4 days until Zoncolan, they're flat or rolling or lumping, nothing crazy, but today was nuts, and a lot of guys had to work really hard.
Long day off the back for some.
Let's talk about tomorrow. Another exciting day, two category 3 climbs, and then we finish on this super interesting category 4 climb. Another one of these really technical finishes, comes into a small town with a steep descent right into a climb with a max gradient of 16%.
Yeah, it's going to be frantic times in the last 10 kilometers for these riders. Really, positioning is going to be really crucial on this descent. It's downhill from about 6K to go to the base of the climb. And it, like you said, it's just traditional Giro d'Italia, really tight, twisty roads. I think it's going to be a great finish for the likes of Enrico Battaglin and Mike Woods. We saw them on similar finishes in the first week battling it out. And yeah, maybe Woods can get that first place he's been so close to.
Yeah, no, it'll be an exciting day for him. I know he actually previewed Zoncolan, so he definitely has that one circled in his race Bible. But it seems like, based on what he did at Liège, these shorter, steeper climbs are right up his alley. So I'm sure that Cannondale will be, EF Dragback Cannondale will be riding full force in support of him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tune in tomorrow for Stage 11. Oh, and I don't want to forget, please send us your coffee mugs. We have one from Joe Pataglia here.
What a beauty. What a beauty. Please send us more.
All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for stage 11.
Thanks for joining.